and welcome to Top of the Morning. Today we have a great show for you. Our guest today is Meshelle. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Top of the Morning show. Today we have Meshelle, an indie mom
of comedy.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good to meet you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. We love having you over here. Tell us about yourself.
Well, I am known in the comedy and theater industry as Meshelle, the indie mom of comedy. And that simply just means that I'm definitely a mom. I guess 3 babies later, that should be solidified. But I'm an indie mom. It's something that I created to describe how I show up on stage and how I show up in theater. When you think of moms, you usually think of Birkenstocks and Oshkosh bagosh and high-waisted jeans, not the cute ones, but the really yucky-looking ones. And so I couldn't fit in that box, if that makes sense, because I didn't see myself that way. I saw myself still as a very vibrant woman, and I wanted to define that in a way that made sense for my stand-up. And so I figured indie, like when you think of indie films and you think about Sundance, you think about all these off-the-beaten-path features or shorts that just wow an audience and sometimes go from Sundance to mega success. Well, I'm that indie mom of comedy. I am still independent, still very innovative, oozing with individuality while celebrating being a mom of 3, a wife of 15 years, and also the mom of a rescue puppy. So I didn't want to put myself in a box, and I know that being a stand-up comic, it takes years sometimes to find your voice, and I was able to discover it inadvertently through motherhood, which is really interesting.
Awesome. So now, what got you into the comedian?
Stand-up comedy world? It was an interesting story. It was on a dare. I was actually just finishing undergrad, and I graduated from undergrad and was working in my field as I was studying to be a psychologist, and so I had my bachelor's in psychology. I was working in the field of early intervention, so I was doing some social and psychology work for an organization. And the organization, it was kind of challenging work. It was working with babies that were prenatally exposed to substance abuse. And so it was really tough work to get these families to get their babies evaluated for possible developmental delays in light of their in vitro situation, their in utero situation. So I would come back from visiting these infants and their families, and I would tell funny stories about what I saw, because in the field I would have to go and interface with the moms and the families, whoever the caregiver was. And sometimes it wasn't funny, but it was a way for me to kind of bring some levity to such a really challenging issue. And my coworkers would laugh uncontrollably, and I didn't even notice that I was making them laugh. And it turns out that they would write down my stories. And they put me in a contest, an open mic contest as a stand-up. And I said to them, I don't have any jokes, because I'm not a set-up punchline kind of comedian. Right. I'm more anecdotal. And so they go, here's your jokes. And they were like, remember that day we were in the lunchroom and you told us this, and you told us that, and you told us this. And I was like, really? And that's how it started. And at the time, it was a club in Baltimore that was owned by now Oscar award-winning comedian Monique, who's from Baltimore.
Yes.
And so I went to her club and went there on a dare. Ironically, she knew me. She grew up with my older sister. They went to high school together and middle school. And so she goes, what are you doing down here? And I'm like, I don't know. They say I'm funny. And that's how it started. It started on a dare. And that night I won the open mic contest. And she goes, you have something. And so I was invited back for 2 weeks to defend my so-called title. And I won for 3 weeks in a row. And
awesome.
She gave me my first professional gig. And so I'm indebted to her to this day for, allowing me to kind of see that part of my life. And then I actually went off to graduate school. I still wasn't convinced that this was what I was supposed to do. And so I got accepted to Temple University, and I was studying to become a school psychologist. And I was working toward a doctorate degree. But after class, I found my way in Philadelphia to all the comedy clubs, and I would just go. I'd either sit for a while, or I'd hop on stage. Could not get away from it, and so that's how it all started. And while in Philadelphia, my advisor came to see me at a show and gave me some unconventional advice. And she said to me, "You're really good at this. You'd be an amazing school psychologist. This is my third year in the program." She goes, "But I think you always wonder what would it have been like had I, went for the stand-up comedy thing."
Right.
And that was 15 years ago. Over 15 years ago. So I've been at it ever since. So
wow.
that's how I got into it.
Mm-hmm.
I left my doctorate. It was supposed to be just a leave of absence.
Okay.
And it ended up being that I actually got my first professional gig in LA, and I stayed in LA for over a month in rehearsal, went on the road with a gig, and met my husband along the way.
Awesome.
That's how I ended up being an indie mom, because I started out as a graduate student turned, burgeoning stand-up, and I ended up meeting this guy and getting married and having 3 children, and my stand-up kind of, would take a back seat here and a front seat there, and I would tour, and then I would have another baby. So that's been the story of my life. No more babies now, so I'm touring now.
Awesome, awesome. So I think we have a little clip of you on stage, so let's take a look at it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, that's funny. So talk to us about your program.
Well, my stand-up comedy, like I said, that clip that you saw was just one of many comedic events that I do. I'm a traditional stand-up comic, and again, I'm a storyteller. So what you saw was me sharing a story, a funny story from my real life. My comedy is all about juggling the life of a wife and a mom and an artist, and finding ways to poke fun at it to keep from going crazy. Lots of women, in any career, once you decide to endeavor into marriage or motherhood, your career becomes, a choice. And some women choose to stay home, some women choose to scale down. I don't know how to scale down, so I chose to go in, just eagle-eyed into it, really without a precedent. There's not a lot of women that I could point to who were wives and mothers, and also, former behavioral scientists in training who became stand-ups. There are some, but there weren't a lot. And so I just went for it. And that's what I do now full-time. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've worked with a number of networks for television, Nickelodeon. I did the reality show called Search for the Funniest Mom in America.
Yes.
And that was hosted by Roseanne Barr.
Oh, wow.
And I was pregnant with my 3rd child on that reality show.
Oh, wow.
I competed with over 300 moms from across the country to see who would be the next funniest mom in America. And ironically, I made it to the final round. And I was very pregnant on that show, and ended up being told by the producers, "We're a little nervous that you're going to have this baby." And I was like, "It's just a baby." And they were like, "Yeah, but we're a little nervous about that." So I fared very well on the show. It's a great confidence booster after 2 kids, being able to get that far along in a very competitive process and be on a show that Roseanne Barr was hosting and be a part of Nickelodeon. So that's been fun. I've also done a lot of showcase comedy shows for Black Entertainment Television, Stars Network. Martin Lawrence produced a show called Martin Lawrence Presents the First Amendment Stand-Up. And that was hosted by Doug Williams, another comic. And I was on that show as well. So there's been a number of television, premium cable and network cable shows that I've been a part of. And so it's been very exciting. Now I've versioned and stretched and returned to my musical theater roots and wrote a one-woman show for myself.
Well, this is all exciting, but we will take a break right now and continue when we
Sign the book.
Okay, thank you. And is Mimi's going to be here, right?
She is here, yeah. She's
Oh,
speaking at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
I think that truly the best thing about being on TV is that when people meet you in person, they just think you've lost a lot of weight. Just TV, honest to God, just makes you look so fat. And that's why if you ever run into any of the actresses who play the ingenue things, they're just really, they're the size of this. Because it's about the camera, the camera. So I haven't really lost any weight, I have to say. I always did, but if you want to think I lost a lot of weight, go ahead. This is my best friend, Cindy Ratslaff. That's her real name, Ratslaff. People always ask her how to pronounce her name, and I say mice giggle and rats laugh. So that's how you know. And we've known each other since college. We're both from Wisconsin. And so anybody else? Nobody else? Oh, okay, that's scary. But when I first got on the Drew Carey show, of course I didn't really plan on being an actress, and I was so thrilled when I first got on there. And then within the first couple of weeks of being on the show, I thought, oh my God, I have the most trite job in the entire world. This is so, I should be off with Mother Teresa in India, eating bad food and helping children, and then I'd lose all kinds of weight and it would be really great. And I go, no, that's not the point. You should be doing something really big and heavy and this and that. And I was kind of freaked because I was just on TV, which seemed so foolish. And someone had given me a book of inspirational stories, and I said, I'm going to open this book, and whatever story I point to, that's the one I need to hear. And I opened it, and it was a story about a woman whose son had been burned over 80% of his body. And every day she would come to visit him in the hospital, and she would come with a story about something that had happened to her that day, and she would make it into the best and funniest story she could. And not only did her son and all the other children around him, but all the nurses and the doctors would look forward to her visit every day. And the end of the story was, so God bless the comedy makers among us. And of course by that time I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. That was my job. That I feel is still my job, is to be funny, because we need comedy. We need to laugh and smile. And I just want to thank you for it.
Was that Ava?
Oh yeah, that was an amazing night. Meeting and working with Kathy Kenny at the American Visionary Art Museum was outstanding. I mean, the whole night was amazing. The theme of being a goddess and exploring all those things about yourself, performing and meeting those amazing women. I had so much fun, and Kathy Kenny is a hoot, very gracious. I mean, people know her from the Drew Carey show as Mimi. She's so much more. I got to see other layers of her, so that was really, really refreshing. And the American Visionary Art Museum is an amazing museum, and the founder, Rebecca Hofberger, is just one of the most gracious women I've ever met. So although I am a native Baltimorean, I don't get a chance to work in Baltimore much because I'm on the road and in New York and in LA, but I love coming home and I love working in Charm City, and the American Visionary Art Museum was a wonderful night.
That sounds great, but we're going to take another break. We'll be right back and we'll talk to Meshelle some more. back. Now we are talking about your,
one-woman show.
okay.
I just finished off-Broadway Theater Festival in New York, called the Midtown International Theater Festival. And very excited to have been a part of that, one of the largest festivals in New York City, second largest in fact. And my one-woman show that I wrote and I performed, and it's directed by Rain Pryor. He's an award-winning director and actor, daughter of Richard Pryor. The show is called Diary of a MILF. And before everybody gets themselves all worked up, MILF in my case is Mom I'd Love to Follow.
Okay.
And so the show walks you through a day in my life. Again, because I think no one will ever understand how absolutely arduous it is to be a full-time mom and wife and social activist and a full-time stand-up. And so I created a show where I play 5 characters, and we're walking through the day in my life beginning 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And it's a crazy fun ride. It all happens around the holiday season, which makes it even crazier. And so you get a chance to meet some of the people I bump into throughout the course of a day. So I'm playing a 5-year-old kid, I'm playing a school teacher, I'm playing an obnoxious elitist mom at a country school, I'm playing a family member, and I also end up playing another kid who's a very funny kid. And we end all of that in one day with me finally getting to the comedy club to talk about my whole day. And so it's a fun ride, and I'm very proud to say that I won my 3rd award for the show this past summer in New York. So I won Outstanding Solo Performer, which is very, very cool. Feels good to win another award. So Diary of a MILF is definitely heading to Broadway. Our next stop is Los Angeles. We'll be there performing in Los Angeles and North Hollywood in the Arts District. So I'm very excited about that as well.
Great, great. Well, let's have a look.
That'd be great.
Audio Jungle. 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 Audio Jungle.
That looks great. I'm gonna definitely go see that.
Well, you definitely can. When we get back from the West Coast, we'll be doing a special run in the DC, Maryland area. So I'd be glad to share that with your audience as well.
Great.
I mean, besides the one-woman show, stand-up is my heart. And so I'd love for the guests who watch the show to follow me so they can find out my next performances in the DC, Maryland area, or the surrounding areas who actually get this program. But definitely look out for my new performances on television. I was on a new season. Magic Johnson has a network called Aspire TV. And I was on a new season of a new show on Aspire in 2014 entitled We Got Next. And it's another showcase of comedians. And the thing that's really cool about Aspire TV and the We Got Next show was produced by an organization, management team and production company called Laugh Mob. And Laugh Mob's creator, Bob Sumner, was the talent coordinator for Russell Simmons for over 15 years for Def Comedy Jam on HBO. So he's known in the industry as Bob Sumner, the Star Maker. So I was really fortunate to work with Bob Sumner and Arthur Spivak of Spivak Management to do Laugh Mob We Got Next. And you can watch that online, and it's on Hulu right now. So if you don't have Aspire TV, you can watch it on Hulu. The show is called We Got Next, and it's on Aspire TV.
Awesome. I'll be watching that.
Thank you.
platters today. With string beans and onions, cabbages and scallions, and all kinds of fruit and say. We have an old-fashioned tomato.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if you guys notice. Okay.
All right.
I would like to talk to you, you see, about some Jell-O pudding on the show, you see.
Howard Cosell.
Yeah.
Is that all right? Is that all right?
All right, now, Steve, you do one. You do
All
one.
right,
Come on, see if I guess what you got.
Let's see. I'm a compassionate conservative. I'm from the little state of Texas.
Okay, let me
All right,
see.
moving smartly along.
No, I know that. I know who that guy is. That's the guy from Porgy.
Porky's too.
Yes, Porky's too. Exactly. I knew it. All right, John got somebody. Now who you got, John?
Tonight's really big shoe here, and after midnight, it features Madame de Pompadour, her dancing pool.
Black Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon.
We have the Black Stallion, Richard Stout.
Richard Pryor.
And we have a really big shoe. And right now, I just turn over to Howard Yee.
Hey man, what's going on, man? Let me tell you something, man. Hey man.
Is this an outtake?
This is outtakes, man.
Okay.
You know, whatever. Don't you ever.
Was that Marcus Welby?
Well, gee whiz, Howard, it's really nice to be here. I've been punching cattle all day.
Muhammad Ali.
Bells on my fingers and rings on my toes.
Punch Drunk Muhammad Ali. I know. That's it.
I am the greatest.
All right.
I am the greatest. I'm pretty. You can't touch me. You can't touch me. I'm so pretty. I look like a butterfly and stink like a bee.
Let me tell you something.
Is that George Foreman?
No. Let me tell you something. I just want to eat an ear. You know, if you got somebody's ear, I put some salt and pepper on it, hot dog, and I eat the ear. That's all I'm doing, man. Come on, I don't want to fight. I want to eat your ear. That's all I want. I want to eat the ear. So, and I know you like my tattoos. You know, I'm gonna get some new tattoos all over my face. Next tattoo I'm gonna have inside my nose.
Okay, so Bugs Bunny or Elmer Fudd? I don't know. I'm new here. Just, you know.
Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. It was more Elmer Fudd.
No, I thought it was kind of Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Kimosabe, bad man.
You know, it must, wait a minute, let me cut you. It must really be boring because everybody's talking. Do you do something?
I just want to say, this is Reverend Justin Jackson. We're going to make this clear.
We're getting really desperate now. How about somebody from the audience? Anybody.
Anybody.
Let me show you something.
Gene?
Who was that?
That was Gene the Dancing Machine. That's the authentic real deal.
That was my next door neighbor.
It was?
Yeah.
He's stalking us.
He owed me $50.
Some people will do anything to get on a show.
Yeah, exactly. Anything.
So this is Mike Tyson, and I'm trying to tell y'all it's time to go. We gotta get out of here. You know, I got a hungry appetite. I might, you know, chew on some neck bones. No, really neck bones.
We're waiting for the Madonna.
I might eat some toes. You never know.
Wait a minute, this must be Mike.
Who's this?
Won't you hear me now? Listen, little think about the future when you get the chance to. The name is Arnold Brown Swagger.
Hey, sign that guy up. Get that guy a contract.
Future name is the run-on. If he comes back, he'll be the run-on comedian.
I had a lot of run-on since.
Okay, and action.
All right, hey guys, we gotta get out of here. We definitely gotta thank our band.
Thank the band. Midnight Boy.
And of course, we gotta thank this guy here. Who's this guy right here?
Run on Ranger.
Wow. Sign him up. He's in the contract. Right. After midnight, tune in. We're not going nowhere. No, real. We're not here for you. Yeah, this is it.
After midnight. Yeah.
That's right, Howard G. Now, my son, Mike Vaughn, father, son, call me Ting, baby. Back to the green room. That's right. Yeah. We out.
Well, welcome back. We've had a great show today with Meshelle. Is there anything else you'd like to add on before we end the day?
Sure. It was great being here on Top of the Morning. And if you guys want to find out more about Meshelle, the Indie Mom of Comedy, feel free to check out my website. That's www.meshelle, MESHELLE.net. Or you can follow me on Twitter at Meshelle Comedy or Facebook, Meshelle, the Indie Mom of Comedy. Had a great time with you guys and look forward to seeing you off Broadway.
Great. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Top of the Morning. Have a great day.